Hi, this is Tranisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about breastplate. I know you're probably thinking it's a weird thing to say, like, why would breastplate be the word that I want to use for today? And the reason why I'm using breastplate is because I was reading the Bible. This is not like just like a real big fancy Bible or anything like that. It's got the word in it. That's all I need. And to tell you the truth, I got this Bible from the dollar store when I used to work there, like a very, very, very long time ago. And I think I got it before I worked there or while I was working there. And it literally, you know how people who are like lukewarm Christians do? And and so the Bible kind of just sat in a room with collected dust and I barely opened it, to be honest. And it wasn't until I rededicated my life to God that I really started just reading and reading and like taking notes and stuff like that. You can't see it. I don't know why I always do that. Like you can see all the way back here. But I was reading First Thessalonians chapter 5 today. And in verse 8, it says, "But let us who are of the day be sober," like sober, sound mind, making sure that you're making the best decision that you can and that you're doing things intentionally. Putting on the breastplate of faith. And when I heard this the first time I heard it, I said, I gotta do more research on what a breastplate is, what it's used for, things like that. Because a lot of people will think that a breastplate is something that's, under your breast. It's it's that thing that some people use, to be put. It's the bone or whatever. Like some people will call that bone underneath your breast the breastplate. But they get that terminology from ancient times. And so the more research I did earlier, the more I learned that a breastplate used to be a part of armor that was put on people. So it would be like the thing that goes on the front of people as a shield. And I thought it was so beast, like that. I mean, when I tell you the Bible is straight bars, it really is because putting on the breastplate of faith and hope, your whole armor. And we all know that, well, not everybody knows, but when I think about being about that life for God, I think about getting ready for war, for spiritual war, emotional, physical war. I think about being prepared for anything. I think about making sure that every day I'm geared up and ready to go. I got to be ready to pick up my cross every day. I got to be ready for whatever the adversary is about to throw my way. I need to make sure that I'm ready to fight against temptation. I'm ready to fight against any type of sin that is going to look appetizing. I need to make sure that I am about that life, that everything that I'm doing is intentional and is the way that God would intend for me to do it. I can't just go my own way, do my own thing, just pretend as if what God wants doesn't matter. I really have to be everything that God created me to be. Will I be perfect? Absolutely not. Let's not pretend. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and pretend as if I'm just going to be this perfect person who just doesn't make any mistakes because every human is going to make mistakes. Every human is going to sin. But what we do afterwards, are we intentionally sinning? That is what really matters, what truly matters. And for me, I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything to intentionally sin. I don't just go out and say, oh, I'm just going to do this because I know it's the wrong thing today. I might be having a conversation and I might say something unintentionally. I might have an action that's unintentional. I might do something and I might like I don't want to say this, but no, I'm probably not gonna say that. But even for other people who are out there and like you see somebody and you just like lusting over them, like you might see people like that and do something like that. If you are intentionally just like drooling out the mouth doing the most, then yeah, you are intentionally doing that. But but if you see somebody and it's just like, oh, they're beautiful, like you're not blind. Even if you are blind, there might still be a way for you to figure it out. But there you are going to notice those things. It's not just something that you just can ignore because you can see or hear or whatever else it is. And so when I think about being about that life for God, I really take that to heart. I really take to heart me being a better person, me doing better, me trying to learn more, to when I'm in life, when I'm doing things in life, I want to be everything that God created me to be. And sometimes it's hard because I do see things that I want, or I'm like, okay, God, you promised me this thing. It just seems like hope deferred, or it seems like I'm waiting. And I know I can't put a time limit on God because God's going to do things in His own time. So it's one of those self fulfilling prophecies where I'm constantly seeking something that is never going to happen. I'm trying to control something that is never going to be, because you can't control what God does. You can only control what you do. So every time I think about putting on my armor, every time I think about putting on a shield, I would have never thought of putting on a breastplate, a shield of peace and hope. Because sometimes in life, when you meet certain people, when they try to bring you down, when people come at you the wrong way, or the person that you like doesn't like you, or you don't get the job, or whatever else, I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to have hope sometimes when things like that happen, because you feel like, I don't want to say you feel like you're without something, because God gives you everything that you need. It feels like, honestly, it feels like you're missing something. It feels like something's wrong with you if someone or something that seemed that good could not want you. Then it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? And so in turn, then you feel like, what am I having hope for? Because I had hope for this job. I had hope for this friendship. I had hope for this relationship. I had hope for this person. And the person disappointed you. And I think that's a really great lesson to learn, because you cannot put your hope in one person. You can hope for things in your life. Of course, God wants you to have hope and peace. But a human is going to mess up. A person is going to mess up. A person is not going to be perfect. A person is not going to do everything you want them to do. They're not going to be everything that you want them to be. They're going to be who they are, because that could be them doing the best that they can. That could be what is intended for their life. It has nothing to do with you at all. Sometimes we take things so personally, thinking that it's got to be because something's wrong with me. It's got to be because I didn't have the qualifications for the job. It's got to be because I wasn't a good enough friend. When really, in reality, it's because that job or that person or that friendship is not for you. Maybe not for the season, maybe not for a lifetime. Maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with you at all. Maybe it's they have their own struggles. They have things that they actually are going through in their life. Maybe maybe you seem like, what if what if the job is thinking you're overqualified, and they don't want to get you there, or maybe you're underqualified and they don't want to give you the position because they feel like if you're there you're going to get bored and you're going to leave in about a week or two, because it's not enough work for you to do, and because of your personality it won't be the right job for you. Maybe God has something better for you, like He always does. Maybe that friendship, you're feeling like you're missing out on something, but God just saved your life. Maybe that relationship, what if, I know how like men and women sometimes we can get so down on ourselves and we just feel like so rejected, or just so just feel like we're not good enough sometimes because someone doesn't like us, or because someone disagrees with us, or something else. But what if the person on the other end felt the exact same way? What if the reason why they're rejecting you, or the reason why they're saying no to you, is because they don't feel good enough? What if you're, what if it's a deflection? What if they were telling you, oh no, I just don't want to be with you because they think you don't want to be with them? What if they feel like they'll never be good enough? What if they feel like you would need more than they can give you? And that's really somebody doing you a favor. Because would you want someone to have, you know what it, like, would you want someone like that? Would you want someone who who doesn't appreciate you or honor or respect you? Would you really want someone who would never see your worth? What is the what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What if you're giving up your soul being with this person? What if what if this person seems like everything that you would want them to be, but in reality would be nothing like that? What if your vision of this person or your expectations of this person is way more than this person actually is? What if this person is nice but would not be nice for you? Like what would it profit you to have a nice person who doesn't appreciate or honor or respect you? Think about that. Think about how we always want something so badly. We want these things. We just always keep on trying to get all of these things that God is telling us no to. He's not telling us no because he just wants to rub it in our face or because he doesn't want us to have nice things. He wants us to have everything. Everything that he wants for us is everything that we need. God's what God wants for us in our life is more than we could ever imagine. When I when I sit back and I think about like the jobs that I thought that I wanted in the past, and some of those jobs God gave me because I was just like, oh, but it doesn't make sense. And he gave me the job and I was miserable. When I think about the friendships that I thought I wanted to keep, and then I saw what happened to other women that were in that friendship with those type of people. And I'm glad that God took me out of that situation because if it could have happened to me. When I think about the type of guys in the past that I would have wanted to be with, I'm so happy God did not let that happen. I had to laugh at that one because, man, ugh, I had horrible taste in back in the day. I don't want to say it like that because let's not try to put other people down. I'm not saying it because I'm putting down those people. I'm just saying because and this has nothing to do with them. They are just being themselves. This has everything to do with me being insecure and me just feeling like certain things were important that really weren't important. Like, I thought that I wanted to be with this guy because he was gorgeous, or because he did this one thing, or because he did whatever else it was. It was not because of his character. It was not because he was a good human being. It was not because we were equally yoked at all. It literally was like the most mundane things that you could possibly think of. And no relationship could ever be built on that. So I'm so thankful to God that he never allowed me to be with any of those people. Like the things that those girls had to go through that were with those guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful God did not let me be with them because I might not be sitting here right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding and for real at the same time because I wasn't as saved as I am now, and I don't know how I would have handled those types of situations. And it wasn't the typical thing. It was like really horrible things that happened to some of the girls that they were with. And I can't imagine ever having to go through something like that. And I'm glad that God graced me because he could have just said, "Oh, you want it? Here you go." And I could be stuck somewhere that I can't get out of. I could be in a position, in a place that I can't be released from. Like, there's so many things. If if God would have let me have my way, my life would have been completely different. And sometimes we really feel like we know better than God. We really feel like, oh yeah, we could just do whatever we want and everything, we know exactly how it's going to turn out and we don't know. We don't know what that guy or that woman's intention really is. We don't know how they really truly feel about us when we're not in the room. We don't know, like for me, honestly, it could be the most amazing guy in the world. If God is saying no, it's because when I wasn't in the room, God knows that I would have wanted to feel or be portrayed a certain type of way. And that's not the way that I was spoken about, or that's not the way that the person would see me. Like, when I envision my future, I think about someone who would speak life into me and I would speak life into. I think of someone who wouldn't have anything bad to say because they would say it to me and we would have an adult conversation about it and figure out in a common ground. It would not, that person wouldn't just be, that person wouldn't just be talking about me in a bad way to make themselves look better. They would really be considering my feelings. That person would be a good person. I don't know. I just have like this image in my head, which I know like God's probably like, that's what you think. This is what's really going to happen. And it's going to be better than you could have imagined. And I know it will because God always amazes me with the way that He comes through. Like, I know in the last video you heard about me talking about how I was in some sort of financial situation and I prayed to God and I humbled myself and God was just like in in 2 days like created a miracle. And I know it's God because it could have happened days later and it would have been too late. It could have happened. It's just He's just so amazing. Like if I could do this whole channel on a whole bunch of testimonies, I really could. Like even today, I went into the office and oof, when I got home, I dealt with some family stuff and then I came home and as I got here, I was like, I want to be comfortable. So I put on this giant t-shirt that I love and I just was about to get ready for bed. And it's funny because when I was coming home, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this video. And God was like, no. And as I read the Bible, I think it's because if I would have done the video for myself, if I would have done it from the things that I learned today, I think those things were just for me to learn, to take to heart, so that God could speak to me, so that I can have something to hold on to for hope, so that I can have some guidance in my life in the way that God intends for me to be guided and led by Him. And when I was reading the Bible, I think that was for you. I think that was for any person who is supposed to see this video. I think that His intention was for me to not worry or think about anything else, but just focus on Him. And He was going to illuminate whatever it was that He needed for me to speak. And He did. And it's so funny because in life, I feel like we forget the basics. We we think that in order to live a, a religious life, in order to follow God or do the right thing or be a good parent, we have to do all of these over the top things. And it's always the basic things that are necessary for us to be healthy and to continue to grow in love and to be the things that we always wanted to be. Like when you want to be a good steward of your finances, you budget. That's so basic. But not a lot of people keep track of their finances. Not a lot of people are willing to budget their funds and to have spending money and to make sure that they're saving for their kids' college or whatever else it is. A lot of people will just say, well, I can't take it with me. Let me just go ahead and spend. But you don't know what situation you're going to be in next year. You don't know what situations you're going to be in next month. And even if you're like me and you always have like a plan B, C, whatever else it is, and I have a plan G for God for real. Now, And back in the day, I really had like a whole bunch of extra backup plans because I just felt like I need to make sure that I'm covering everything. But as long as I'm putting forth an effort and work, then God is taking care of everything else. And I can't worry about the little things. I can only just be a good steward of the things that I have, that I possess, that I own, that God is blessing me with, so that He can see that I'm a good steward of a few things to bless me with many. And not just for that reason, but because He's amazing and because He's God. Like He's everything to me. And also, even when it comes to parenting, we think that in order to be a good parent, you have to go above and beyond and do all these extravagant things. It's nice to do nice things for your kids, especially when it comes to traveling to allow them to see the world and things like that. We want them to experience things that we haven't experienced so that they can have that education, so they can expand their minds, their horizon, and see that other things are possible. But we also know that with time and love, that's what every child needs. The basics, time and love. They need your time and your attention, knowing that they matter, knowing that their feelings matter, knowing that the things that they're doing. I think my hair is trapped in my necklace again every time. But that's what they really need. They need that time with you, to for you to hear them out, to listen to them, to sit with them, to read with them, to acknowledge them, acknowledge that their feelings are relevant, so that when someone else comes along, they don't have to feel like they need validation from other people. They already get it from themselves. They get it from God. They get it from you. They get attention from you. They don't have to go and dress provocatively. They don't have to go and be the loudest person in the room just to get attention. They just have to be themselves. And that's good enough. When it comes to love, you really truly loving them the way that God intended you to love His people is the way that you should be loving your child. You should be caring and compassionate and understanding and knowing that you were a child too once, a long time ago. But seriously, we really try to overcomplicate things and say we got to do all of these things. We read these books and learn all of these things from podcasts and all of these things out there. Just so much, a plethora of information and knowledge that we are always seeking like a 5 step or a 3 step or whatever else it is, when really, truly, what we need to be a better person is to just be better, to do better, to actually put forth an effort to work on ourselves. If you could work on yourself, honor, respect yourself, love yourself, and strive to do, did I already say strive to do better? Whatever. But as long as you are trying to do better every day, as long as you are honoring yourself, honoring your mind, body, and soul, and you're being kind to yourself, you're doing everything that you need to do. Being better, kind, all that. That's everything that you need to do. I think I moved it to the back, so now there's a piece of hair. It's just gonna have to stay there until the video's over. But I know you see me in these like videos with the shirts and all that other stuff, and I know you're probably like, "What is she doing?" Like, I just was comfortable, and I really had no idea I was gonna do a video today because I just, whenever God is like, "It's time, I'm coming." Like, I don't just tell God no. Like earlier today, God was like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I was like, okay, yes, Lord. Like, I'm just going to do whatever it is that you need me to do. God told me something that made my heart warm. Like, it made me so happy. And I'm not going to talk about what it is not unless, until it happens, because it's two ways that this could go. And so I just felt so happy and a little scared. I wasn't scared because I don't think God got it. I'm scared because I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. but this time I have God. So hopefully this time I'll just be like, okay, God, whatever it is that you need me to do. There was a few things that God wanted me to do in the meantime, like last month and the month before. And I was like, God, but then I'm going to look like this to this person if I do this. And God was saying that's not godly. And so God, this is how cool God is. God is so cool that, and he's so about that life, and he got like this whole strategic plan that he's like, I need you to go to church, like to a different church this Sunday. And at first I was like, like this is God, or is this really me just wanting to do this? And then my one of my family members texts me and says, "Hey, you want to go to church with me?" And I'm like, "Okay, God, I heard it's you for sure. This isn't just." And so I was like, "Okay." He's like, "And when you go, I just need you to listen. Just stay focused on me and listen." And he told me the same thing that I just said. He literally just said, the pastor literally said, "You will feel like this is going to make you look like this. But when you're doing things God's way, when you're doing things, the Christian way or whatever else, you it's going to look like that because society tells you that this makes you look weak." And I was like, okay, God, I heard you. You said go ahead and do this. So this is what I'm doing. And so I just, in this season, want to just be completely obedient. I don't want to second guess. I don't want to be like, well, but I'm going to look like, or it's going to make me seem like if God is saying do it, I know it's for a bigger reason. And regardless of what any other person thinks, when I know that it's God, I don't care what they think. It doesn't matter. What matters is what God thinks. I could look the most ridiculous, like Noah building that ark when it was no rain. But when the rain came, people believed him. And that's exactly how this situation is going to be. Look at all that faith. But yeah. And so, because I don't like to make the videos too long, and I had a plan of like, I was going to watch a Christmas movie or, something. And it's weird because I usually don't like romantic movies or anything like that. And I say a Christmas movie is romantic because let's be honest, every single Hallmark movie, Lifetime movie, or what's the other channel that does one? I can't remember, but the main ones that I'm usually watching are like the Lifetime Christmas movies, which are like Hallmark movies. And I'm not trying to like shout out Lifetime and Hallmark, even though I said it a few times, but I would have, when I was younger, I would have been like so cynical, like, ugh, really. But now I'm just like, oh, it's so great to see. Like every time I see people have like the Christmas cheer or some sort of miracle happen or whatever else, I'm just like, that's nothing but God. Like I know it's a movie, but seriously, every time something amazing happens, that's a miracle. It's like before I would have been so I would have disbelieved. I would have been I would have not believed. I would have just felt like it was impossible. But with God, I know that anything is possible. And so now when I watch movies like that, it's not just about, the things that happen in between or like the every single couple getting together at the end. It's literally the whole story is like about having hope and having faith in something. And now that I know God, I have hope and faith in things that I would have never imagined that I would believe in. And I would like to say it's it's God putting certain people in my life because I really truly thought that I'm really trying not to cry in this video like every single time, and I was hormonal. That's why I was all overly emotional that one day. So we know what the culprit was. And so so I just uh thank God so much for every person that He's ever allowed to be a part of my life or introduced into my life because I really didn't see, I really didn't think that I would have faith for certain things or hope or believe that certain things were even possible. And God showed me what something like that could look like. And even though everything didn't go the way that I thought it would go because I just felt like it was impossible at the time, in retrospect, it's really a blessing because it allowed me to see that it was possible even for me. And so, in conclusion, when it comes to faith, when it comes to God, when it comes to this journey in life, you got to put on your breastplate. You have to armor up and get ready for war because the devil doesn't take any breaks. He's always ready to throw some sort of emotional, physical, psychological attack at you to try to lower your self-esteem, to ruin your mind, to destroy your hope and your faith, to get rid of the peace, the joy unspeakable that God's given you. And you can't allow him to ever do that. You don't even have to speak his name anymore. Just look up scriptures for every time you feel doubt, whatever doubt it is that you feel, whatever negative thought it is that you feel, look up a scripture to counteract it. And God's word is way more powerful than he could ever be. So whenever you feel like your faith is low, whenever you feel like you're struggling, when you feel like it's hard, when you don't see how it's possible, know that God got you and that he's going to work everything out for your good, for the good of those in their purpose, for you, even you, even you.